Today is February the 11th. Did Jesus come to divide us? Let's find out together as we study Matthew 9 and 10. Today I'd like you to read chapters 9 and 10 of Matthew. This seems to be unique material to Matthew. Some of these episodes may be repeated, and I'll talk about that in just a bit. But take time to read those two chapters, please. Again, we find Jesus doing miracles, healing, teaching the crowds, confronting the Pharisees, and working with the 12. This time, and especially in chapter 10, in the book of Matthew, the 12 are named, and then they are sent out on a mission in which they do the very same thing that Jesus did. Some of the stories that we have here, I'll draw your attention to chapter 9, verse 27. After Jesus left the girl's home, 2 blind men followed along behind him, shouting, "Son of David, have mercy on us." That is repeated in some of the other Gospels, saying there was one blind man. We will find that Matthew frequently says there were 2 of something, when other Gospels say there were 1. I'll be honest with you, I don't know why. Now, it is true, if there's 2, there is 1 as well. Maybe the other Gospels were just looking at one of them. I don't know. Someday, I hope to be able to find out. But I want to draw your attention to chapter 10, because in chapter 10, when Jesus sends his disciples on a mission, he says some very, very unusual things. In chapter 10, starting in verse 34, "Don't imagine that I came to bring peace to the earth. I came not to bring peace, but a sword. I've come to set a man against his father, a daughter against her mother, a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. Your enemies will be right in your own household. If you love your father or mother more than you love me, you're not worthy of being mine. If you love your son or daughter more than me, you're not worthy of being mine. If you refuse to take up your cross and follow me," in other words, if you love yourself more than me, "you're not worthy of being mine. If you cling to your life, you'll lose it. But if you give up your life for me, you'll find it." Now, Jesus quotes from the book of Micah. It's Micah chapter 7. It's an interesting passage because Micah chapter 7 says what Jesus is quoting here in a slightly different way. Micah chapter 7, starting in verse 6. "For the son despises his father. The daughter defies her mother. The daughter-in-law defies her mother-in-law. Your enemies are right in your own household." Micah doesn't say that the Messiah comes to divide. He says the Messiah comes when division already exists. Then he goes on, verse 7. "As for me, I look to the Lord for help. I wait confidently for God to save me, and my God will certainly hear me." The Messiah comes in the midst of division, but he comes to bring healing to that division. Now the question is, how does he do that? The first is a point that would be very easy to overlook. The way Jesus words it, if you love your father or mother more than you love God, you're not worthy. If you love son or daughter more than you love Jesus, you're not. If you love yourself more than you love Jesus, you're not worthy. What he's actually saying there is sometimes if we try to cling to something that we love, we end up destroying it. Love God first, because he helps you to love father and mother, son and daughter, even yourself more appropriately. The second thing that he says, he goes on in this passage, verse 40, anyone who receives you receives me. Anyone who receives me receives the Father who sent me. If you receive a prophet as one who speaks for God, you'll receive the same reward as a prophet. If you receive righteous people because of their righteousness, you'll receive a reward like theirs. Jesus repeats the word receive 8 times in this section. The word simply means to welcome. Welcome me. Welcome the one I send. Welcome the prophet. Welcome the righteous man. First of all, love God. And then receive the people that God has given you. That does not sound like one who divides. It sounds like one who takes a people in the midst of division and teaches them to care, to welcome, and to receive each other. What about you today? Is there someone that you feel divided from? Receive them, welcome them, care for them. You may find that the division goes away. Please like, follow, and subscribe on whatever platform you used to listen to this devotional. Email your questions to us at questions@becomehope.com. We'll see you in church on Sunday.